is Twinkie the Kid. Ever wonder how they get that creamy filling into the middle of a Twinkie's cake? Well, these kids have some pretty good ideas.
First, they put down the creamy filling, then they bake the cake all around. See, they got this big tube full of the stuff, and they just squish it in. It's just born there.
Hostess Twinkies cakes, fruit pies, and cupcakes. Yahoo! The fresh snacks with a snack in the middle.
All right, and all you Gen Xers, certainly you remember that iconic commercial from the 1980s. That's about 85. Twinkie commercial. Well, bad news for you to report today. Hostess, the company that makes Twinkies, as well as Wonder Bread and dozens of other brands, today announced that they will liquidate the company after more than 80 years in business and bruising bankruptcy battles. Rachel Feinzeig is here to tell us about the story. You were up all night reporting this story, literally all night, right?
Yeah, we were waiting for the decision. The company earlier this week made a threat to its union workers, said if they didn't stand down from the strike by 5 p.m. last night, they were going to file liquidation papers, and they made good on that threat. About 7 a.m. New York time this morning, right? Yep.
Let's talk about the union strike initially, because this seems to be, this was the last straw for this company, right?
Exactly. They said in their court papers filed this morning that they still had several thousand union members striking, which just made it impossible for them to continue operating and churning out Twinkies.
Yeah, and this was I believe it was the second largest union, right? This was the Bakers Union. Mm-hmm. Went on strike. Now the company, like I said, this was really the last blow. I mean, this company has been kind of edging towards this point for a long, long time, right?
Definitely. This is their second bankruptcy filing in recent years. They've just had battle after battle during this case, labor trial after labor trial, negotiations. The Teamsters Union, their largest, eventually came on board with a fresh labor contract, but the bakers refused to give their support to that. The court ultimately forced Hostess to, forced the bakers to take that contract, and then they struck, started picket lines in return.
How unexpected was this? Because in your story, as you point out, they've threatened liquidation before, but they've never gone through with it.
Yeah, over and over again, we saw them threaten this in their first bankruptcy case. We saw them threaten this if the bakers didn't throw their support behind the fresh labor deal back in September, and they never followed through, and I mean, this time I guess it just was the last straw.
Right. So, I mean, now what happens? What happens to the company? What happens to the business? What happens to, and we actually went out and got a few, little product placement here for a company going out of business. We went out and got a few boxes, Twinkies, cupcakes, donuts, What happens to all this stuff?
The company did its last bakery run last night, and the trucks are on the road delivering that product to stores. A spokesman told me this morning that they estimate that they have some retail shops, that those retail shops will be out of Twinkies and Ho-Hos within about 7 days. Then they are already starting the court process to do a liquidation, kind of piecemeal sales of assets. They weren't able to get a buyer for the business as a whole, but they do have some leads on buyers that might be interested in picking up pools of assets.
And obviously one of those pools would be the actual brands, because the brands, look, the brands still have a name, they have cachet, people know them, people recognize them. And you interviewed one branding expert in your story, and I want to pull up the quote from what he said. It's very interesting stuff here, and you can talk to this, Rachel. This was from Adam Heft, right?
Hanf, yeah.
Hanf, all right. And he says, look, I love this. A buyer that embraces the brand's kitschy, deliciously retro feel, i.e. No nutritional value whatsoever, could be rewarded with a hipster following. I really like, I mean, it's kind of true, right? Part of what hurt this company was that tastes have changed and nutrition has become an issue, and these things, as good as they taste, and I love Twinkies, they have absolutely no nutritional value. But how much value is there in the brand name still? There
is value, and Adam told me that kind of with a wink and a nod, kind of acknowledging the inherent lack of nutritional value, these goods could kind of become cool again. He, was foreseeing new flavors, international appeal. And I mean, the IP really includes it'll include the recipes, even the graphics. So there's a lot to be done there.
Yeah, Twinkie the Kid, right? You could revive Twinkie the Kid.
Definitely.
So you said the last runs are coming. We went out and actually tried to get some of these, and we noticed that the shelves are already bare. Are people going to be hoarding Twinkies?
I think it's definitely something we could see. There's been talk of, of this since earlier this week. I guess the strike started on Friday, and by Monday, Hostess was already threatening liquidation. And we've heard kind of rumblings of, stocking up on your last batch of Twinkies. So it's definitely something that we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah, listen, you should, because as we know from Zombieland, right, Twinkies will survive the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly. They're good to have around.
They are good to have around. All right, Rachel, thanks. Appreciate your time. Go get some sleep.
Thanks.